Alright, the lads, it's the post-match pints. Liverpool have won 3-0 away from home. They are joint top of the Premier League and they absolutely outclassed Leeds. It could have been 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8. Take your pick. So it should be a really positive post-match pint. We should be talking up Liverpool. We should be talking about all the good things that come out of that match, but obviously overshadowed massively by the injury to Harvey Elliott. Emilia, it looked grim at the time. It's getting grimmer the more you see it slowed down. But what's nice from the lad at least is he's I mean, such is life these days. He's already Instagrammed himself in an ambulance saying thanks for the messages on the road to recovery. I mean, he's not going to play football for a long time.
No, not for a very long time. He looks chirpy as when he's coming off, when he's like clapping the home fans there.
Shame about the reaction he got to that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the majority of them are obviously being supportive and nice, which is good, but then there's a minority that are disgraceful. But it's awful, it's absolutely awful, and as you say, he won't be playing football for a long time, and God knows in what capacity and in what state and to what ability he'll be playing when he then comes back, and if it will be for Liverpool and when it will be. There's so many questions now over his career, whereas I think if this hadn't happened, the conversation we would have been having about Harvey Elliott's Liverpool career after that performance and after that game would have been so different. And it's just awful, the kind of the sliding doors nature of it, that if he comes off a minute earlier or if Hendo comes on a minute, it's just that it's so close to it not happening and not changing his career and changing his life. And that's how heartbreaking it is. It is,
it really is. And you know, Emilia's right there, Stu, to say that, you know, we could have been quoting stats like, you know, he's the youngest midfielder in Liverpool's history to play 3 games consecutively in the top flight and things like that. You know, the faith shown from the manager to throw him into a tough away like that, you know, had everyone talking before the first whistle. And then, you know, and yet again, I think we would have been talking about him positively, maybe saying he should have scored and things like that. But now it's like, well, where does this go from here? And obviously the conversation, I mean, I don't know what Klopp's saying right now to Sky because we're doing this, but I think you could see from his demeanour and what he was saying on the sidelines and his general, you know, he was fuming. And it looked to me like he was saying, you know, I'm not a lip reader, but it looked to me like saying, this is what happens when you say you're letting it flow, I think he was saying. And obviously we've had this rule change. We saw it when we played Burnley, that there were a few heavy challenges going in, including on Elliott then as well. And now this one's gone in, and now we've got that consequence to it. And it's like, this will be the talking point now. Is that right? Is the bar set right? There was only a couple of yellow cards shown in the game to Leeds, and they were physical throughout. You'd expect them to be. That's what you traditionally got when you went to Elland Road. But football's meant to be in a bit of a different place now, isn't it?
Yeah. I think you're right. You know, just the first point there about the bar, is it set at the, you know, the right place? It's absolutely not. I mean, at times during that game, it felt like that the referee had lost the game. It felt like out of control, but it wasn't, because this is the way that he is choosing to referee the game under the current guidelines. And the game was constantly on a knife's edge. It always felt like that one of their players was going to dive into one of ours, you know, time and time again. And I think the Liverpool players actually struggled with that throughout the game, you know, just getting their heads around it.
It was hard to get going on it first 5, 10, 15, whatever it was, you know, that approach. Liverpool was struggling with it, you're right, and Leeds had a chance, and you know, you worried that it wasn't going to be Liverpool's day in that initial, you know, first few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see, I mean, this idea, this notion of letting the game flow and all that, and I'd like to see how many times there were tackles where players that had both feet left the ground. You know what I mean? There was that level of diving in constantly throughout the game. And also, you know, the psychological factor of that, if you're the opposition, if you're a Liverpool player and you know that is likely to be happening and it's going to go unpunished, it affects you strategically as well. I think, you know, just on Elliott, what the big worry, and we were talking just before, you know, the show started, about the age he's at. An injury like this, developmentally, could be absolutely devastating. I mean, let's hope it's not. As you said, he's been on Instagram already. You know, he seems like, you know, he's a tough lad and he's quite a resilient lad. It'd have to be to get to where he's got in the game already. But still, you know, he is going to lose the momentum that he's built up over these last few months. And you know, you can take nothing for granted in football. You know, you can be front page today and forgotten about, you know, 2 months later. And I just think an injury like this, and the way Sky chose not to show it, and I understand why. I haven't seen the footage on Twitter, and you know, and to see what happened to his left foot in that way, I think we're all made up. We've got the 3 points, but I think the only other thing that we're particularly bothered about is the you know,
takes the edge off it, doesn't it?
The injury to him, and that he can get back as soon as possible, really, and have the career that he should have.
Hello Reds, thanks for watching that taster of the post-match pint. If you want to watch the rest of that video, really easy to watch it right here on YouTube. Just click the join button below, that activates the membership. It gives you access to the Anfield Wrap's premium videos, which includes the post-match pint, but also reviews, previews, exclusive interviews, and it means you can follow us, follow them from here, the heart of Liverpool.